The coin shown in the images is a United States of America buffalo nickel dated 1930, a 5-cent coin that belongs to one of the most iconic and artistically celebrated series in U.S. numismatic history, officially known as the Indian head nickel, which was minted from 1913 to 1938 and represents a bold departure from earlier classical coin designs, as its obverse features a powerful right-facing portrait of a Native American, symbolizing the indigenous peoples of the United States rather than a specific individual, with the word liberty inscribed along the rim and the date 1930 clearly visible, while the reverse depicts a massive American bison, commonly called a buffalo, standing on a raised mound, a symbol of strength, endurance, and the American frontier, accompanied by the inscriptions United States of America and 5 cents, affirming its denomination. This design was created by renowned sculptor James Earl Fraser, a student of Augusta St. Gaudens, who sought to capture a distinctly American identity by honoring Native American heritage and the wildlife of the Great Plains at a time when both were rapidly disappearing, making this coin deeply symbolic of early 20th century American cultural awareness. The 1930 buffalo nickel was struck during the early years of the Great Depression, a period of severe economic hardship in the United States, and coins from this era circulated heavily, which explains the significant where visible on your example, including the smoothing of facial features, partial loss of the buffalo's horn and fur detail, and softened lettering, all of which are common on circulated buffalo nickels. Compositionally, the coin is made of 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighs 5 grams, measures 21.2 millimeters in diameter, and has a plain edge, specifications that remained consistent throughout the series. Buffalo nickels were struck at Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver D, and San Francisco S, and while the mint mark area is not clearly visible in your images, the absence of a visible mark would indicate a Philadelphia issue, which was the most common mint for this date. In terms of value, heavily circulated 1930 buffalo nickels typically hold modest collector value above face value due to their age and historical importance, while higher-grade examples with stronger detail, especially a visible date and clearer buffalo features, can be worth significantly more, and rare mint varieties or error strikes from this series are highly sought after by collectors worldwide. Historically, the buffalo nickel series is beloved because it represents a turning point in U.S. coinage, when realism and national identity replaced the more classical European-style designs, and today it remains one of the most collected American coins, making your 1930 example an important tangible artifact of American history, reflecting both the artistry of its creator and the challenging economic era in which it circulated, and standing as a lasting symbol of liberty, national heritage, and the rugged spirit of the United States. Next, top 2. The coin visible in your images is a United States buffalo nickel dated 1936, officially denominated as 5 cents, and it belongs to one of the most famous and artistically important coin series ever produced by the United States Mint, known formally as the Indian Head Nickel series, which was struck from 1913 until 1938 and marked a dramatic shift toward bold, uniquely American imagery in U.S. coinage, as the obverse of the coin features a strong right-facing portrait of a Native American figure created as a composite representation rather than a single individual, with distinct braided hair, feathers, and deeply sculpted facial structure, symbolizing the indigenous heritage of North America, and bearing the inscription Liberty along the rim with the date 1936 clearly visible near the edge. The reverse side displays a powerful American bison, commonly called a buffalo, standing firmly on the ground, representing the strength, endurance, and frontier spirit of the United States, accompanied by the inscriptions United States of America and 5 cents, which identify the issuing authority and denomination, and this design was created by renowned sculptor James Earl Fraser, a student of Augusta St. Gaudens, who intentionally chose subjects rooted in American history and landscape rather than classical European themes, making this coin deeply symbolic of national identity. The buffalo nickel is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighs 5 grams, measures 21.2 millimeters in diameter, and has a plain edge, specifications that remained constant throughout the series, and the 1936 issue was minted during the later years of the Great Depression, a period when coins circulated heavily due to economic hardship, which explains the extensive wear, smoothing, surface loss, and corrosion-like texture visible on your example, including the softened facial details on the obverse and the heavily worn body and head of the buffalo on the reverse. Buffalo nickels were produced at Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver D, and San Francisco S, with a mint mark if present, located beneath the denomination on the reverse. And while the images suggest heavy wear that obscures fine details, the absence of a visible mint mark would indicate a Philadelphia issue, which was the most common for this date. From a numismatic standpoint, 1936 buffalo nickels are common in worn condition but remain highly collectible due to their age, historic design, and cultural significance, with value increasing substantially in higher grades where the date Liberty and buffalo horn are clearly visible, while special varieties from 1936, such as the famous 1936 double die obverse, are among the most valuable in the entire series, though such varieties require close examination under magnification, historically and culturally. The buffalo nickel stands as a lasting symbol of early 20th century America, capturing a moment when the nation consciously sought to honor Native American heritage and the disappearing wildlife of the Western Plains, and even in heavily circulated condition like the coin shown in your images, a 1936 buffalo nickel remains an important tangible artifact of U.S. history, reflecting the daily commerce, economic struggle, and artistic ambition of the United States during the Great Depression era, and embodying enduring themes of liberty, resilience, and national identity. Next, top 3. The United States of America quarter dollar dated 1984 D mint mark is a circulation coin from the long-established Washington Quarter series, a series that for generations formed an essential part of everyday American life and commerce, and this particular issue reflects the economic conditions, minting practices, and national symbolism of the United States during the mid-1980s. As the obverse of the coin features the familiar left-facing portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States, designed by sculptor John Flanagan and first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the anniversary of Washington's birth, with the word liberty prominently inscribed along the upper rim as a powerful statement of the nation's founding principle of freedom, the national motto "I in God We Trust" placed to the left of Washington's profile, and the date 1984 positioned to the right, beneath which appears the D mint mark, identifying the coin as having been struck at the Denver Mint, a major U.S. minting facility that has produced vast quantities of circulating coinage since its establishment in 1906. The reverse of the 1984 D quarter continues the classic heraldic eagle design that had been standard on Washington quarters since 1932, depicting a bald eagle with wings outstretched, clutching a bundle of arrows symbolizing national strength and defense, while olive branches below the eagle represent peace, all surrounded by the inscriptions United States of America and quarter dollar, a design deeply familiar to Americans and used until 1998 before the introduction of the 50-state quarters program. In terms of composition, the coin is made of a copper-nickel-clad structure, consisting of outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, with a standard weight of 5.67 grams, a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, and a reeded edge, specifications that had been in place since 1965 when silver was removed from circulating quarters due to rising bullion prices and widespread hoarding. The 1984 D quarter was struck in extremely large numbers, with a mintage of over 500 million coins, reflecting the heavy demand for quarters in the 1980s, when cash usage was high and quarters were indispensable for vending machines, laundromats, parking meters, toll roads, and public transportation systems, making this issue very common in circulated condition today. As a result of its high mintage, the 1984 D quarter generally holds face value unless found in uncirculated or high mint state condition, where strong original luster, clean surfaces, and sharp details, especially in Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, can add collector value, with higher grade examples such as MS-66 and MS-67 being considerably scarcer and more desirable. Collectors also look for mint errors and varieties from this issue, including off-center strikes, clipped planchets, lamination errors, broad strikes, and double dies, which can be worth many times face value depending on their rarity and visual impact. Historically, the year 1984 sits within a period of economic recovery, technological growth, and cultural change in the United States, and coins from this era serve as everyday artifacts of American life before the rise of digital transactions, making the 1984 D Washington quarter important not for rarity but for its role as a durable symbol of continuity, national identity, and the enduring American ideal of liberty expressed through United States coinage. Next, top 4. The United States of America quarter dollar dated 1992 with the P mint mark is a modern circulation issue from the long-running Washington Quarter series, a series that for much of the 20th century represented stability, continuity, and everyday utility in American monetary life. And this particular coin reflects the final decade of the classic Washington Quarter design before the introduction of the 50-state quarters program in 1999, as the obverse features the familiar left-facing portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States, created by sculptor John Flanagan and first issued in 1932 to commemorate the bicentennial of Washington's birth, with the word liberty boldly inscribed along the upper rim as a powerful symbol of American freedom and democratic ideals, the national motto "I in God We Trust" placed to the left of Washington's profile, and the date 1992 to the right, beneath which appears the P mint mark indicating that the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the oldest United States mint facility, established in 1792 and a central institution in the nation's coinage history. The reverse of the 1992 P quarter continues the traditional heraldic design used on Washington quarters from 1932 until 1998, showing a bald eagle with wings outstretched, clutching a bundle of arrows symbolizing strength and national defense, while olive branches beneath the eagle represent peace, all encircled by the inscriptions United States of America and quarter dollar. a design deeply familiar to Americans before being replaced by the state quarter series. Compositionally, the 1992 P quarter is made of a copper-nickel clad structure, with outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, weighing 5.67 grams, measuring 24.3 millimeters in diameter, and featuring a reeded edge, specifications standardized after the removal of silver from circulating quarters in 1965 due to rising bullion prices and widespread hoarding. The 1992 P quarter was produced in very large numbers, with a mintage exceeding 700 million coins, reflecting the continued heavy demand for quarters in the early 1990s when cash transactions were still dominant and quarters were essential for vending machines, parking meters, laundromats, toll booths, and public transportation systems, making this issue extremely common in circulated condition today. Because of its high mintage, the coin typically carries face value unless found in uncirculated or high mint state grades, where strong original luster, clean surfaces, and sharp strike details, particularly in Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, can significantly increase collector value, with top condition examples such as MS-66 and MS-67 being relatively scarce compared to the vast number originally struck. Collectors also pay attention to mint errors and varieties, including off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, and double dies, which can be worth substantially more depending on their rarity and visual appeal. Historically, the year 1992 marks a period of transition in American society and the global order, coming just after the end of the Cold War and during a time of economic and technological change, and coins from this year serve as tangible everyday artifacts of American life in the early 1990s, giving the 1992 P. Washington quarter significance not for rarity but for its role as a durable symbol of national identity, continuity, and the enduring ideal of liberty expressed through United States coinage.